Welcome, my soft-thinking listener. You've found yourself in the company of the sleepy sloth once again. A slow, scientifically minded fellow who enjoys facts, Peter Parker, and things that spin quietly in the world of superheroes. I must tell you something before we begin. Today, I consider myself a scientist in Spider-Man lore. A scientist who is almost always correct, except for those few times when I am not. But even then, I prefer to drift gently onward, rather than fuss over it. Because what truly matters is the information itself. Before I start, please, let me know. What is the most boring thing you would secretly love hearing about? Let me know gently, in the comments. Now, let us begin today's episode of the origin of Peter Parker in the early days of Spider-Man. Let us float gently onward to the year 1939, a time when the comic book world was quietly unfolding new ideas and characters. Although Spider-Man as we know him had not yet spun his web, his conceptual roots were quietly nesting in the minds of early comic creators, who explored spider-like motifs here and there, planting little seeds of inspiration. These seeds would later bloom into the iconic figure who captures imaginations with his arachnid agility and web-slinging adventures. But no one asked for this. And yet, here we are, tracing the faintest threads back to those humble beginnings. Early comic books featured various creatures and characters inspired by the natural world, including spiders, though none bore the complex humanity of Peter Parker. The idea of a spider-themed hero simmered slowly in the creative cauldrons of the era, blending scientific curiosity with the allure of the mysterious. This quiet gestation period, unseen by many, set the stage for a new kind of hero, one who would leap beyond simple symbolism into deep, relatable storytelling. It was a slow, gradual weaving of concept and culture, much like moss growing silently on an ancient stone. Moving slowly into the year 1962, which is quite pivotal, as it is the year when Peter Parker, the very human behind the mask, first appeared in the pages of Amazing Fantasy issue number 15. This issue, quietly released in August of that year, carries more weight than you might suspect. It is a delicate balance of storytelling and artistic creation, offering readers a new kind of hero, a young man who struggles, who doubts, who is not born super but made super through circumstance. The softness of the paper, the faint smell of ink, all are silent witnesses to this subtle shift in comic history. Peter Parker was introduced as a high school science enthusiast, awkward, thoughtful, and relatable in his imperfections. His story stood apart from the godlike figures common in comics before, gently inviting readers to identify with the quiet fears and hopes of youth. The narrative tone unfolded at a calming pace, with each panel weaving a tender fabric of responsibility, loss, and growth. This introduction quietly upended expectations, replacing invincible heroes with a softly complex character whose humanity shone through every softly drawn line. But first, a slow little detour. For this extra interesting fact, Peter Parker's origin story involves the oft-overlooked detail of the radioactive spider bite. This spider, a tiny, eight-legged creature, carries a silent gift wrapped in the language of science fiction. The radioactivity, a concept borrowed from the era's fascination with atomic energy, quietly transforms Peter, granting him powers that are both marvelous and mildly inconvenient. You may not care. And that is completely fine. As the process is described in minute detail across several panels of the comic, each frame delicately illustrating Peter's newfound abilities, his strength, agility, and that peculiar spider sense, which warns him of unseen dangers with subtle tinglings, like a gentle breeze rustling through leaves. The scientific underpinnings, though fictional, draw softly on contemporary knowledge of radiation, echoing the era's mixed feelings of awe and apprehension toward nuclear power. This transformation is less about spectacle and more about the slow unfolding of potential and responsibility, wrapped in quiet wonder and a touch of cautious curiosity. It is a beginning whispered through the turning pages, inviting readers to imagine the soft, slow ripple of change that forever altered Peter Parker's life. Let us drift, ever so slowly, toward the shadow cast by a small yet significant event, the death of Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, a figure of quiet wisdom and steady kindness, meets his fate in a way that propels Peter Parker's transformation from boy to hero. This moment is not loud or dramatic in the conventional sense. Instead, it is a soft echo, a moral whisper that reminds Peter, and us, that great power comes with great responsibility. It is the catalyst for Peter's commitment to use his gifts for good, weaving a tapestry of duty and consequence that stretches across countless comic issues, cartoons, and movies. Uncle Ben's death is often portrayed as a quiet, almost unseen moment, one that Peter reflects on with gentle sorrow. It is the slow unraveling of innocence, replaced by a deep, steady resolve. This event, though brief in page time, ripples throughout Spider-Man's narrative, like a pebble causing tiny waves across a calm pond. The weight of Uncle Ben's words settles softly in Peter's heart, guiding his every web-slinging leap and decision. Peter Parker, in those earliest comic panels from 1962, is portrayed quite distinctly as a high school student, a detail often overlooked but quietly fundamental. This means he is navigating not only the complexities of spider-based superpowers but also the rather ordinary challenges of adolescence, awkwardness, academic pressures, and the delicate dance of social interactions that many of us find both perplexing and mundane. His school environment, with its softly echoing hallways and the distant murmur of lockers closing, is a backdrop as important as any swinging skyline. He wears his school clothes, carries books, and even struggles with homework, an endearing nod to his very human roots. The creators were careful to embed this relatable normalcy into Peter's character, grounding his extraordinary abilities within the familiar, softly humming rhythm of teenage life. This contrast, between the thrilling and the everyday, whispers quietly through each comic panel, inviting readers to see a bit of themselves in this young hero's journey. It is this blending of the mundane and the marvelous that makes Peter's story a gentle exploration of growing up, slowly, carefully, and with a soft sigh. A slight but significant moment arrived in 1963, when Peter Parker made a brief but notable appearance alongside the Fantastic Four, one of Marvel's earliest superhero teams. This crossover is an example of the quiet weaving of storylines that comic creators love to undertake, stitching together separate narratives like threads in an intricate tapestry. In these panels, Peter is not yet the seasoned hero but still the tentative young man learning the ropes. His interactions with the Fantastic Four carry a gentle hint of respect and curiosity, as if testing the waters of what it truly means to be a hero among heroes. The comics portray this encounter with a delicate balance, offering a window into the early days of Marvel's interconnected universe. The Fantastic Four, themselves pioneering figures in the superhero world, provide a subtle stage for Peter to stretch his wings, though not quite ready to soar. This moment, softly nestled in comic history, reminds us that even the most iconic figures began as part of a larger, quiet conversation, gradually building toward their unique voices. It is a small yet tender chapter, quietly threading Spider-Man's story into the ever-growing fabric of heroic tales. Moving softly into 1964, we find that Peter Parker's scientific genius was carefully nurtured in the storylines of the time. The comics gently emphasize his role as a gifted science student, one who approaches problems with curiosity and methodical thought, qualities that ground his superhero feats in plausible, if fictional, science. This aspect of his character is delicately explored, showing him poring over textbooks, conducting experiments in modest, dimly lit labs, and crafting his web shooters with meticulous care. His intelligence is not boisterous or flashy but steady and reliable, like a softly ticking clockwork mechanism. This focus on science and invention is one of the many ways the creators gave Peter a quietly impressive identity beyond his powers. His intellect becomes a comforting constant, a gentle reassurance that behind every leap from rooftop to rooftop is a mind softly humming with calculations and ideas. The slow, careful development of this scientific side adds a layered texture to his character, inviting readers to appreciate the subtlety beneath the spectacle. His prowess in science also highlights the era's fascination with innovation and discovery, reflecting a world increasingly attuned to the wonders of technology, albeit through the calm lens of fiction. In 1965, a new figure entered Peter's softly turning world, Mary Jane Watson, who would become a significant presence in his life. Her first appearance is painted with gentle strokes, introducing her as a lively and charismatic character, contrasting with Peter's more reserved and thoughtful nature. The comics offer glimpses of her charm, her laughter, and the warmth she brings to the otherwise sometimes lonely life of a young hero. Mary Jane's presence is not rushed or overwhelming, instead, it unfolds like a slow bloom in a shaded garden. Her introduction enriches the narrative, weaving in themes of companionship and gentle support, grounding Peter further in the tender realities of human connection. The relationship between Peter and Mary Jane is layered with quiet moments and unspoken understanding, much like the soft flutter of leaves in a calm forest. This subtle companionship offers a soothing counterpoint to the often solitary nature of heroism, reminding us that even amidst the slow, unending challenges, there are warm, enduring bonds to hold on to. Her character brings a balance of lightheartedness and depth, a delicate thread that softly strengthens the fabric of Peter's story without overwhelming its quiet rhythm. A softly significant milestone occurred in 1966 with the debut of the first live-action Spider-Man television series. This adaptation marked a gentle expansion of Peter Parker's story from the printed page to the flickering glow of the television screen. The series, produced with modest means and unhurried pacing, portrayed Spider-Man's adventures in a manner that was accessible and comforting rather than spectacular or overwhelming. The visuals were simple, and the storytelling slow and deliberate, perfectly suited to the medium and the audience of the time. Watching Peter Parker swing from building to building, portrayed by a quietly earnest actor, gave viewers a tangible, if softly stylized, connection to the character they had come to know through comics. This television presence helped to spread Peter's story beyond its original readers, wrapping it in the familiar rhythms of weekly viewing and shared household quiet. The show's gentle tone allowed Peter's humanity and his unassuming heroism to settle comfortably into the living rooms of viewers, making his story feel like a cozy tale told by a steady, calm voice. Its impact, while modest compared to later adaptations, planted seeds for the character's enduring presence in popular culture, quietly threading Spider-Man into the collective consciousness. In the gentle unfolding of Peter Parker's life, the year 1967 marks a quiet transition from the familiar halls of high school to the broader, more contemplative world of higher education. Peter begins attending Empire State University, a place filled with softly echoing lecture rooms, the faint rustle of turning pages, and the slow tick of clocks marking time in measured beats. This setting provides a new backdrop for his continuing journey, a world where the curiosity and intellectual drive, which have always been a part of him, can blossom in subtle ways. Empire State University, while fictional in its Marvel incarnation, is imagined as a nurturing environment for a young man balancing his dual life as a student and a superhero. Within these walls, Peter is depicted studying subjects that gently challenge his scientific mind, deepening the layers of knowledge that support his remarkable feats. This period of college life is portrayed not as a whirlwind of events but rather as a slow, steady maturation, the kind where small discoveries and quiet moments shape a person's path. The narrative meanders through the rhythms of campus life, where friendships are forged in the soft glow of libraries and under the cool shade of campus trees, setting a tone of contemplative growth that resonates softly through the comic pages. This stage also invites reflection on the quiet tension of balancing academic responsibilities with the secret demands of heroism, a delicate dance that Peter learns to perform with care and persistence. During this same year, Peter's story softly intertwines with that of Gwen Stacy, a character who enters his life with an understated elegance and gentle charm. Their meeting and subsequent relationship unfold with the unhurried pacing of a shaded woodland stream, where each encounter adds new reflections and ripples to their shared story. Gwen Stacy is portrayed as intelligent, kind, and poised, qualities that complement Peter's thoughtful nature. Their courtship is not rushed, rather, it is a slow dance of mutual understanding and affection, filled with quiet conversations and shared moments beneath the calm skies of the Marvel Universe. This relationship adds an additional layer of tenderness to Peter's world, a soft thread woven through his complex life as both student and superhero. The comics often highlight the intellectual companionship they share, emphasizing a bond grounded in respect and gentle support. The presence of Gwen Stacy brings a soothing warmth to Peter's life, a reminder of human connection amidst the responsibilities he shoulders. Their connection deepens over time, unfolding in gentle chapters that explore themes of trust, growth, and the bittersweet nature of love within the quiet pressures of Peter's double life. The year 1973 holds a weightier, more somber note in Peter Parker's saga, marked by the deeply tragic event of Gwen Stacy's death. This moment is rendered with a careful, almost reverential touch in the comics, recognizing the profound impact it has not only on Peter's character but on the emotional fabric of Spider-Man's story. Gwen's passing is portrayed with quiet gravity, a soft shadow that settles over the narrative rather than a loud or abrupt disruption. This loss is a pivotal point, gently emphasizing the fragility of life and the bittersweet nature of heroism. It is a reminder that behind the mask, Peter experiences sorrow and vulnerability, feelings that ripple through his actions and motivations. The storytelling unfolds slowly here, allowing readers to absorb the weight of grief without haste, almost like leaves drifting down to a quiet forest floor. This event echoes softly through many story arcs that follow, casting a delicate but persistent melancholy over the tapestry of Spider-Man's life. The death of Gwen Stacy is often considered a defining moment not only for Peter but for comic book history, marking a shift toward more complex, emotionally nuanced storytelling that lingers like a soft, somber breeze. In 1977, the comics tenderly portray a new chapter in Peter's personal life as he marries Mary Jane Watson. This union is depicted not with fanfare or spectacle, but as a gentle commitment between two individuals who have grown together through years of shared experiences and quiet understanding. The marriage is shown as a soft joining of lives, a comforting presence amid the chaotic swirl of superhero exploits. Mary Jane's role evolves into that of a steady companion, offering warmth and grounding in Peter's sometimes tumultuous world. The ceremony and its surrounding moments are illustrated with a calm simplicity, focusing on the intimacy and sincerity of their bond rather than grand gestures. This relationship deepens the emotional texture of Peter's story, weaving in themes of partnership and enduring support. It's as if two slowly turning gears find their rhythm together, quietly propelling the narrative forward with a gentle, dependable hum. Through the steady companionship of marriage, Peter's story gains a layer of quiet stability that softly counterbalances his heroic challenges. A more unusual turn in Peter's story occurs in 1984 with the narrative arc where he temporarily loses his Spider-Man powers. This storyline is explored with a careful, almost scientific curiosity, delving into the causes and effects of such a loss in painstaking detail. The comics describe Peter's experience with a subtle blend of frustration and introspection, as he navigates the world without the abilities that have defined much of his identity. The gradual disappearance and eventual return of his powers are portrayed through a series of soft, unfolding moments, each one measured and deliberate, allowing readers to gently consider what it means to be a hero stripped of extraordinary gifts. This arc also highlights Peter's resilience and adaptability, traits that quietly affirm the strength of his character beyond mere superpowers. The depiction is layered with slow, thoughtful pacing, inviting a meditative reflection on identity and the essence of strength. It's a gentle pause in the ongoing story, like the steady ticking of a clock's hands slowing for just a moment before resuming their steady beat. The temporary loss offers a rare glimpse into the man beneath the mask, emphasizing that heroism is as much about spirit as it is about power. In 1988, the pages of Spider-Man's ongoing tale unfolded a particularly tangled thread known to many as the Clone Saga. This storyline, much like a slowly twisting vine weaving through the garden of comic lore, introduced the perplexing idea of Peter Parker encountering clones, genetically identical copies of himself, each carrying echoes of his memories and feelings. The saga stretches languidly over many issues, with a careful layering of mystery and confusion, as Peter and those around him question what it truly means to be the original. The scientific underpinnings of cloning, though simplified and dramatized for storytelling, nod to the real-world fascination and ethical quandaries of genetic replication. Readers are gently invited into this slow unraveling of identity, as the comics explore the emotional and philosophical implications with a measured, sometimes almost hesitant pace. The saga's complexity, often met with mixed feelings, nonetheless adds a richly textured, if quietly bewildering, chapter to Peter's history. It is a narrative that folds back on itself, creating loops and questions that echo softly through the years, much like the subtle turning of gears hidden within a clock's heart. This arc reminds us that even in the world of superheroes, the questions of self and authenticity remain tender, intricate puzzles. A different rhythm begins in 1990, when Peter Parker's story takes a more modern and rather businesslike turn. The comics gently reveal a side of Peter previously unexplored in great depth, his role as the CEO of Parker Industries. This new chapter is painted with soft strokes of corporate life, where Peter navigates boardrooms, business decisions, and the intricate dance of leadership. It's a subtle shift from the agile web slinger leaping between rooftops to a man balancing the quiet weight of responsibility behind a desk. The portrayal does not rush into the flashy world of business drama, instead, it unfolds thoughtfully, highlighting Peter's scientific mind and ethical compass as guiding stars in his corporate role. Parker Industries becomes a backdrop of softly humming office spaces, strategy meetings, and the occasional quiet moment of reflection amidst the buzz of innovation. This narrative turn invites readers to consider the multifaceted nature of Peter Parker's character, his capacity to weave together intellect, heroism, and the often mundane world of business with gentle care. The quiet tension between his public leadership and private heroism adds a textured layer, like soft shadows cast by office windows at dusk. The early 1990s also brought the softly glowing arrival of the Spider-Man animated series in 1994, a production that introduced the web hero's adventures to a new generation through the warm medium of television animation. This series unfolds at a gentle pace, with fluid hand-drawn artistry and a mellow soundtrack that together craft a comforting atmosphere for viewers. The episodes glide softly through Peter's trials and triumphs, offering familiar stories with a slightly slower cadence, well suited for both children and longtime fans. The animation style, characterized by its richly colored backgrounds and carefully choreographed action sequences, feels like watching shadows play through a mossy forest floor, inviting and quietly mesmerizing. This television presence helped solidify Spider-Man's place not only in comic lore but also in the everyday lives of many, providing a softly spoken window into heroism and human struggle. It is a tender retelling that feels both fresh and comfortably familiar, much like a well-loved book read by the fireside. The show's gentle rhythm and sincere character moments quietly nurtured a deep affection that endures in fans' hearts. In 2002, the world experienced a new kind of connection to Peter Parker with the release of the Spider-Man movie starring Tobey Maguire. This adaptation translates the softly layered story from comic pages and television screens onto the big screen, wrapping it in cinematic hues and carefully crafted visual effects. The film moves with a deliberate, unhurried rhythm, taking its time to explore Peter's origin, his struggles, and the gradual embrace of his role as Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's portrayal brings a tender vulnerability to the character, emphasizing the quiet moments of doubt and resilience that underpin his heroic journey. The movie's visual storytelling, swinging through cityscapes, small gestures of kindness, and lingering looks, feels like watching feathers slowly drift through the air, each scene measured and meaningful. This cinematic version invites audiences to settle into Peter's world, where the extraordinary is balanced by the deeply human. The gentle pacing and attention to character nuance make the film a soft, enduring echo of the comic's heart, offering a lullaby of heroism wrapped in relatable humanity. Then, softly shifting to 2004, the Ultimate Spider-Man comics reintroduce Peter Parker as a rebooted teenage hero, offering a refreshed and gently updated origin for new readers. This incarnation presents a version of Peter who, while still a high school student, moved through a slightly more modern and textured world, filled with subtle technological and social details that reflect the times. The Ultimate series carefully peels back the layers of Peter's experience, retelling his first encounters with powers, challenges, and responsibilities with a tender attention to emotional depth and narrative clarity. The artwork and storytelling unfold with a smooth, flowing rhythm, akin to watching slowly turning gears within a finely crafted clock, each panel a measured step toward a fuller understanding of who Peter is. This reboot invites contemplation on the timelessness of Peter's story, gently reminding readers that beneath every new beginning lies the same soft, steady heartbeat of heroism and growth. It is a calm reimagining that nestles comfortably within the wider tapestry of Spider-Man's enduring legacy, a gentle nod to both past and future. In the quiet, reflective pages of the Ultimate Universe in 2007, the poignant moment of Uncle Ben's death is retold with a gentle, yet somber brushstroke. This retelling, while familiar in its essence, unfolds with subtle differences that invite readers to revisit the origins of Peter Parker's journey from a softly shifting perspective. Uncle Ben's passing is portrayed as a delicate turning point, one that quietly shapes Peter's sense of responsibility with a slow, deliberate weight. The narrative lingers on small, almost whispered moments, like the gentle closing of a book or the soft sigh of a breeze through autumn leaves, reminding us that loss, though quietly painful, is a foundational part of Peter's character. This version of the story, nestled within the Ultimate Comics reimagined world, offers a nuanced exploration of grief and growth, emphasizing the tender human emotions beneath the mask. The subtle shifts in the retelling add layers to the familiar tale, as if observing the same scene through a soft, diffused light, revealing details that were previously hidden in shadow. It is a slow, thoughtful meditation on memory and motivation, wrapped in the hushed tones of a story well loved yet gently re-examined. The year 2012 introduced a new face to Peter Parker in the form of Andrew Garfield, who stepped softly into the role in the Amazing Spider-Man film reboot. This cinematic portrayal invites viewers into a fresh retelling of Peter's origins, unfolding with a smooth, careful pace that balances action with moments of quiet introspection. Andrew Garfield's interpretation carries a subtle vulnerability, capturing the thoughtful hesitations and tentative hopes of a young man discovering his extraordinary gifts. The film's atmosphere, punctuated by softly lit cityscapes and the faint hum of urban life, creates a space where Peter's internal struggles and external challenges can unfold with a measured calm. The narrative moves gently, giving room for the small, intimate moments, like the exchange of a shy smile or the careful crafting of a web shooter, to breathe alongside the more dramatic swings and leaps. This version of Spider-Man feels like watching a feather drift slowly in a quiet breeze, where every movement is deliberate, and every pause holds meaning. It offers a soothing reintroduction to a beloved story, wrapped in the tender textures of a new era, encouraging us to see heroism through the soft lens of vulnerability. Softly entering the Marvel Universe in 2015, Miles Morales emerges as a new Spider-Man character within the Ultimate Comics line. His introduction weaves a fresh thread into the already intricate tapestry of Spider-Man lore, presenting a young hero who carries his own distinct story and rhythm. Miles, with his unique background and quiet determination, is portrayed with a gentle respect that highlights the richness of diversity and new beginnings. His story unfolds with a slow and steady cadence, tracing the nuances of growth, identity, and responsibility through the lens of a teenager navigating both personal challenges and heroic duties. The narrative pays tender attention to the subtle emotions that ripple beneath Miles' exterior, the soft weight of expectation, the tentative steps toward confidence, and the warmth of community support. The artwork and storytelling often feel like watching light filtering through a canopy of mossy trees, dappling the forest floor with shifting patterns of hope and discovery. Miles Morales' arrival offers a comforting expansion of the Spider-Man mythos, inviting readers to settle into a new story that gently echoes the familiar while blossoming into something softly unique. Following the sweeping changes brought about by the Secret Wars event, the year 2016 saw Peter Parker's return to prominence in the main Marvel Comics continuity as the primary Spider-Man. This homecoming is portrayed not with haste or loud proclamation but with a calm, reflective tone that honors the character's enduring legacy. Peter's re-emergence feels like the slow turning of a familiar gear, slipping smoothly back into the grand machinery of the Marvel Universe. The comics take their time to revisit his relationships, challenges, and quiet moments of heroism, allowing readers to ease back into his world with gentle familiarity. This return is marked by subtle storytelling choices that emphasize growth and resilience, weaving soft threads of memory and renewal throughout the narrative fabric. Peter's character moves through the panels with a measured grace, embodying the steady heartbeat of a hero who has weathered many storms yet remains steadfast. The atmosphere surrounding this period is one of tender continuity, inviting contemplation on the passage of time and the comforting persistence of familiar stories, like the slow turning of seasons in a moss-covered forest, where every leaf falls in patient silence. In 2017, the cinematic world welcomed Tom Holland as the newest Peter Parker, introducing Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a fresh and tender touch. Holland's portrayal is imbued with a youthful energy that is nevertheless conveyed with a soft-spoken sincerity, painting a picture of a young man grappling gently with newfound powers and the quiet weight of responsibility. The films featuring Holland unfold with a rhythm that balances moments of gentle humor and heartfelt reflection, woven through with the shimmering visuals of cityscapes softly glowing beneath twilight skies. His Spider-Man swings through scenes as delicately as a feather caught on a slow breeze, each movement measured and meaningful. This incarnation emphasizes the ordinary aspects of Peter's life, the awkwardness, the friendships, the small victories, offering viewers a comforting sense of intimacy amid the broader sweep of superhero spectacle. The narrative cadence is unhurried, allowing each quiet moment to settle deeply, like moss growing steadily on ancient stones, reminding us that even heroes need time to grow and find their place in the world, where strength is measured not only in feats but also in patience and grace. The year 2018 brought a softly shimmering new chapter to the Spider-Man story with the release of Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse, an animated film that delicately unfurls the idea of multiple Spider-People existing across various realities. This tale unfolds much like watching countless feathers slowly drifting down from different trees in a quiet forest, each one unique yet part of a larger, intertwined dance. The film explores the concept of the multiverse with a gentle complexity, introducing audiences to an array of spider-themed heroes, each carrying their own softly glowing story and personality. The animation style itself is a dreamy tapestry of colors and textures, reminiscent of moss-covered rocks or the slow turning of antique gears, creating a visual experience both rich and soothing. Through this narrative, viewers are invited to ponder identity, connection, and destiny, not in a rush, but with the quiet patience of a slowly winding clock. The film's layered storytelling and tender character development emphasize the beauty of difference and the comfort found in shared purpose, all wrapped in a lullaby of softly spoken heroism, a gentle reminder that every thread in the web is important and valued. In 2019, within the gently flowing timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Peter Parker reaches a quietly significant milestone, graduating from high school. This moment, often overshadowed by the larger-than-life battles and spectacular feats, carries with it a subtle weight of transition and quiet growth. The ceremony itself might be imagined with the soft murmur of whispered congratulations, the gentle rustling of graduation gowns brushing against each other, and the tender exchange of hopeful smiles shared among friends and family. This milestone marks a tender threshold where the innocence of youth begins to give way to the unfolding complexities of adulthood and responsibility. The MCU weaves this event seamlessly into its broader story, gently reminding us that beneath the mask is a young individual stepping cautiously into new roles, both ordinary and extraordinary. It is a soft celebration of time's passage, the layering of experience, and the slow unfolding of life's many chapters, much like the quiet bloom of a flower waking to the morning light. The year 2020 softly shifts Peter Parker's role within the MCU as he joins the ranks of the Avengers, stepping into this larger ensemble of heroes with a gentle and measured pace. His arrival into this storied team is portrayed with an emphasis on his youth, eagerness, and the quiet humility of a newcomer amidst legends. The cinematic moments depicting Peter's interactions with his fellow Avengers unfold with carefully timed pauses and a deliberate pacing, much like the synchronized turning of delicate, interlocking gears in a vast and intricate machine. While his contributions may seem modest and tentative at times, they carry a quiet strength that quietly affirms the idea that heroism transcends mere power, rooted instead in persistence, heart, and the courage to keep moving forward. This integration into the Avengers adds a new dimension to Peter's journey, positioning him within a community bound by shared values, gentle support, and mutual respect. The story breathes with a soft rhythm here, inviting viewers to find comfort in the steady harmony of collaboration and personal growth. In 2021, Spider-Man: No Way Home delicately introduces the multiverse storyline into the MCU, weaving a softly tangled web of realities that gently ensnares Peter Parker in a series of unexpected and unprecedented challenges. This chapter unfolds with slow, deliberate complexity, interlacing characters and threads from various Spider-Man universes with a tender balance of continuity and fresh beginnings. The multiverse concept, potentially dizzying in scope, is handled with a calm and soothing cadence that allows viewers to follow each connection with quiet attention and care. At the heart of the narrative lies Peter's deeply personal struggle with identity, consequence, and responsibility, portrayed through moments of introspection and slow-burning emotion. The film's visual and storytelling rhythms mirror the gentle spiraling of a feather caught on a mild breeze, unpredictable yet graceful in motion. Here, the multiverse functions both as a reflective mirror and an intricate tapestry, honoring past stories while weaving new ones with delicate precision. This narrative gently unfolds as a meditation on selfhood and the enduring spirit of heroism, told in tones that encourage quiet reflection and a restful embrace of complexity. In 2022, the announcement of the animated MCU series Spider-Man: Freshman Year brought a softly refreshing promise to fans eager to revisit Peter Parker's beginnings. This series is envisioned as a delicate exploration of his earliest days, told with a gentle rhythm that invites viewers to pause and absorb the quiet moments nestled between more dynamic scenes. The animation style is imagined to evoke the tranquil atmosphere of a moss-covered forest, where every movement feels slow and intentional, fostering a sense of calm and familiarity. The storytelling likely centers on those small yet significant acts of discovery, the meticulous crafting of Peter's first web shooters, his tentative learning to balance the demands of heroism alongside the ordinary struggles of youth. This tender revisiting offers a chance to witness Peter's formative experiences with a soft gaze, emphasizing the humble beginnings that ultimately shaped the hero he would become. It is a quiet, intimate narrative, gently unfolding across the gentle passage of time, inviting viewers to drift alongside Peter as he finds his place in a vast and softly glowing world. In the softly unfolding pages of 2023, both the comics and the Marvel Cinematic Universe chose to place a gentle spotlight on Peter Parker's scientific achievements, an often underappreciated aspect of our web-slinging hero's life. This renewed focus meanders through storylines that celebrate his quietly brilliant mind, inviting audiences to linger on the intricate details of his scientific work. Peter's intellect is portrayed not as a flashy superpower but as a steadfast and reliable force, akin to the slow, precise turning of ancient clock gears hidden deep within a timepiece's core. Across various narratives, we see him tinkering with new inventions, refining advanced web formulas, and innovating technologies that assist both his heroic endeavors and his day-to-day existence. The stories dwell thoughtfully on his patient process of trial and error, where every small breakthrough is a soft, deliberate step forward in a long journey of discovery. This gentle emphasis reminds us that true genius often reveals itself through quiet contemplation, far from the chaos of battle. Beneath the mask and costume, Peter Parker is first and foremost a thinker, a softly humming mind steadily seeking to understand and better the world around him. Moving softly into 2024, the latest comics delicately explore the ongoing balancing act between Peter Parker's college life and his duties as Spider-Man. This dual existence is portrayed as a gentle dance, where the steady rhythms of lectures, study sessions, and campus friendships intertwine with the quiet urgency of late-night patrols and carefully timed rescues. The narrative unfolds at a measured pace, allowing readers to appreciate the subtle tensions and modest victories that come from juggling such contrasting worlds. The storytelling pays tender attention to everyday details, the soft rustle of notebook pages, the muted murmur of a crowded lecture hall, the faint glow of city lights beneath a sky slowly turning from dusk to night, each grounding Peter's extraordinary experiences in relatable human moments. This portrayal highlights the emotional and physical demands of maintaining two identities, emphasizing resilience without rushing toward melodrama. Peter's story here becomes a soothing meditation on responsibility, growth, and the delicate challenge of finding harmony amid complexity, inviting readers to settle into the quiet spaces between action and study, reflecting on the slow, steady unfolding of a life lived with gentle courage. As we drift into the quiet expanse of 2025, the world of Peter Parker unfolds with a gentle rhythm that invites us to pause and savor the subtle shifts in his journey. In the pages of the latest Amazing Spider-Man arc, Peter stands at a poignant crossroads, delicately balancing the heavy mantle of Spider-Man with his deep longing for a simpler, more ordinary life. The story unfolds like a slow-moving stream, where each panel ripples softly, reflecting the nuanced layers of his inner conflict and the quiet strength he draws from his perseverance. A new antagonist, Simbi, emerges as a shadowy presence, inviting Peter, and readers, to confront darker facets of his own nature. This introspective tension does not disrupt the steady current but enriches it, weaving a tapestry of continuity and change. Through this narrative, Peter's core remains steadfast and enduring, like moss-covered stones in a forest stream, quiet, resilient, and ever-present, grounding the story in a deeply human truth. Meanwhile, in the cinematic realm, the anticipation for Spider-Man, Brand New Day builds gently, swelling like a soft crescendo. Filming in Glasgow transforms the city's streets into the familiar avenues of New York, creating an atmospheric stage for Peter's next chapter. Tom Holland returns, embodying the role with a tender blend of youthful energy and introspective maturity. His new suit, a visual homage to classic Spider-Man designs yet adorned with modern details, softly nods to the rich legacy the character carries. This film promises a return to Peter's roots, exploring the delicate dance of his personal growth alongside the demanding balance between academic pursuits and superhero duties. As the story unfolds, viewers are invited into the quiet evolution of a young man striving to harmonize his extraordinary powers with a heartfelt desire for peace and normalcy, crafting a tale that resonates with gentle warmth and earnest reflection. In the broader tapestry of 2025, Peter Parker's journey continues to weave through moments of introspection and action, each thread contributing subtle depth to his rich and evolving narrative. Whether through the softly inked pages of comics or the carefully crafted frames of film, his story unfolds with a gentle persistence, a reminder of resilience's enduring power and the quiet heroism found in everyday life. This persistent heartbeat beneath the mask pulses steadily, revealing the layers of complexity in a young man who embodies both extraordinary gifts and deeply human vulnerabilities. As Peter navigates challenges old and new, his story resonates like the soft turning of seasons in a quiet forest, a narrative of growth, strength, and hope whispered softly through time. This fact is not exciting. Not even a little bit. And that is just perfect. Sometimes, the most meaningful stories are those that take their time, unfolding slowly and gently, without the fanfare of grand spectacle or the dazzling burst of fireworks. Peter Parker's rise into popular culture was not a sudden blaze but more like a quiet, steady river that meanders through the vast landscape of comics and imagination. Each detail, each date, like that unassuming August day in 1962 when Amazing Fantasy No. 15 was released, is a small, deliberate ripple in a vast and patient current. We don't need to cling to every panel or line of dialogue. Instead, we can rest peacefully in the calm certainty of his gradual growth. From a shy high schooler bitten by a radioactive spider to the beloved hero inspiring millions, Peter's story gently reminds us that legacies often begin not with dramatic leaps, but with quiet, careful steps, weaving their way softly into the hearts of readers. With small, deliberate steps that would eventually create a legacy far larger than himself. If your eyes are closed, if your thoughts are drifting, then my job here is done for today. Thank you for spending this unremarkable moment with me. You have listened to The Sleepy Sloth, where uninteresting things become the softest lullabies.